What if I told you that 3 simple words, uttered at just the right moment, could crack open her heart more than any grand gesture, any flashy compliment, or rehearsed pickup line? Imagine standing across from her, the world fading out, as you lean in and softly say, "Tell me your story." In that instant, you're not chasing approval or performing for her. You're inviting her into a space where she feels safe, seen, and truly valued. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." When you say, "Tell me your story," you embody that Stoic ideal. You lead by example, showing genuine interest rather than empty talk. Personal anecdote. I remember a night at a small cafe in Athens, watching 2 strangers connect deeply after one simple question. That question was the spark. It shifted everything. Here's why those 3 words have power. They pivot the energy from you seeking her interest to you offering her the chance to be heard. Story example. Consider Rana, a young engineer who, frustrated by small talk on dates, tried this line. She paused, blinked, smiled, and poured out a tale of childhood ambition that lasted 20 minutes. By the end, she saw him not as another guy, but as someone who genuinely cared. Stoic wisdom teaches that we own only our judgments and intentions. Everything else belongs to fate. When you ask, "Tell me your story," you relinquish the need to control her reaction. You become a receptacle for her narrative. Example, I once asked a friend to test this on his sister's roommate. Complete stranger. She ended up sharing family secrets within 10 minutes. Because he offered real presence, she mirrored it back. In practice, timing matters. Don't drop it as a gimmick. Wait for a moment of genuine openness. Maybe she touches her phone sajin of her childhood dog. Maybe her eyes flash when she talks about a cause. That's your cue. Pause the conversation naturally. Hold steady eye contact. Exhale, then say, "Tell me your story." The calm precision behind your voice tells her you're sincere, anchoring her attention. Quote from Epictetus. "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Those words aren't ancient history. They're your blueprint. When she speaks, resist the urge to fill silences or interrupt. Let her words carry weight. Example, I saw one man nod silently, jotting mental notes as the woman described her first solo journey abroad. By the end, she leaned in, eyes glistening, because he honored her experience. This phrase is Stoic because it's grounded, unpretentious, and free of drama. It doesn't promise outcomes or inflate egos. It simply offers space. Imagine her telling you about her proudest failure or the one dream she's too scared to chase. In that vulnerability, you're not just a listener, you're a witness. And witnessing someone's truth forges unbreakable bonds. Let me share a quick example. Zara, a teacher, told me how a random guy at a party asked her the question mid-dance floor. She stopped, frozen in neon lights, then spilled stories of her grandmother's poetry readings. They danced for another hour, but neither ever forgot how she felt in that moment, truly seen. Now some will think it's manipulative. It's not. Stoicism demands integrity. You're not fishing for gossip or using her as entertainment. You genuinely want to connect. Example. When my mentor used this with an old colleague, the colleague later said it was the kindest question she'd ever been asked. Kindness is the ultimate strength. When she finishes, reflect back a key point. Your grandmother's poems sound incredible. What's your favorite line? That follow-up shows you listened. Story. I once heard a woman light up describing a single haiku she wrote at 15. Because he remembered that detail, they scheduled a second meeting the very next week. Beware of overusing it. If you ask every woman, "Tell me your story," it loses impact. Make it scarce, authentic, reserved for moments that matter. Example. One friend overdid it and found his dates suspicious, thinking he had an agenda. Scarcity amplifies sincerity. In Stoicism, we embrace acceptance. You might hear things that challenge your worldview. That's growth. When she shares something raw, maybe an old regret, listen without judgment. Example: a close acquaintance confessed a past mistake that still haunted her. He simply sat with her, saying nothing except, "Thank you for trusting me with that." That silence spoke louder than any words. This question also flips the typical dynamic. Instead of you vying for her attention, she becomes the storyteller. Humans are hardwired to respond to curiosity. When you show it openly, you become magnetic. Story. At a networking event, one shy woman froze until someone asked her story. Overnight, she became the center of a small, captivated crowd. Remember Marcus Aurelius's final words, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if thou wilt ever dig." By asking her story, you're guiding her back to that fountain. You're the catalyst for her self-discovery, and she'll associate that feeling with you. As you master these 3 words, watch how conversations deepen. The girl who once gave one-word answers now describes her wildest dreams. The wall she built comes down. You become not just memorable, but unforgettable. And that, my friend, is true attraction. Now here's your moment. Next time you're talking to a woman, whether on a date, at a party, or even virtually, pause, breathe, lock eyes, then calmly, gently say, "Tell me your story." Watch her world shift in that instant. If this insight resonates, hit subscribe and join our community of men committed to real connection, honest strength, and stoic confidence. Every week we unravel more tools that turn words into bridges. Because when you master presence, you don't chase, you attract.